The Battle Royale genre has technically existed for a long time. Many argue that the first Battle Royale game was actually Minecraft Hunger Games, and then others would say actually it's a WWF SmackDown game that had it a long time ago. But when it comes to the shooter genre, the Battle Royale as we know it began as an Arma 2 mod in DayZ, and that mod inspired Brendan Green to make his own BR mod in H1Z1. And then later, Brendan Green would actually help develop a little game called PUBG. And this is the first fully dedicated Battle Royale game. PUBG deserves all the credit for popularizing the Battle Royale genre as we know it. Many of the staple things that you think of when it comes to a Battle Royale is because of this game. And PUBG's popularity led to the golden age of Battle Royales, with tons of games inspired by PUBG, from Fortnite to Apex to Warzone and everything in between. Many of these games would take inspiration or just straight up copy one another throughout the years, which helped shape the BR genre into what it is to this day. So in this video, I want to look back at all the Battle Royales and discuss their most important innovations to the genre. Now, in the case of most of the dead games I'm going to discuss, not a lot of their ideas really stuck, which is why they're dead. But I do still want to discuss some of these games' unique ideas that they brought to the table that could be used in future BR games or even in the current ones today. So, without further ado, let's begin by first discussing one of the first Battle Royale games and easily the biggest in the genre. Fortnite basically copied PUBG, but did simplify the BR genre tremendously, which definitely helped it appeal to a much wider audience. It also had some of its own unique innovations, like my first honorable mention for Fortnite being its building mechanic. In Fortnite, you're allowed to build structures, as long as you have materials, which allows for you to have cover in the middle of an area, but it also means that the whole world's architecture is destructible. However, this building mechanic never really took off with other Battle Royales, and most BRs don't even have destructible environments. Maybe the next Battlefield game will capitalize on that. Another honorable mention is Fortnite's creative mode, which started off as a map maker, but it's now become more of like a game maker, like Roblox. But back when it was simply just a map maker, it was cool to see fan-created maps show up in the Battle Royale map, even if they haven't done that in a long time, for reasons we won't get into. But I do think the biggest innovation to the genre has less to do with the actual gameplay that Fortnite brought, but instead the business model that changed the world. Free to play. This concept changed the gaming industry as we know it, for better or for worse. I have multiple videos where I rant about it. That's not what this video is about. But essentially, every single Battle Royale from here on out would follow suit. And the ones that didn't, they didn't last long. And this also led to gaming in general having more cosmetics, because Fortnite had a chokehold on the cultural zeitgeist with their collab skins and emotes. I mean, everybody was doing Fortnite dances. You remember, you'd see like a kid doing a Fortnite dance at a Starbucks. It was crazy. Everybody was doing Fortnite dances. Realm Royale always felt a bit undercooked. If you called it a knockoff Fortnite, I wouldn't blame you, but it did have a few unique elements to it that I do think were cool ideas for the BR genre. An honorable mention is the chicken. In this game, when you die, you would turn into a chicken, and as long as you lasted 20 seconds without getting eliminated as a chicken, you'd be revived as a human, which is really cool. This essentially gave you an extra chance at life, especially if there was a lot of chaos happening in a hot drop. But I do think the best idea Realm Royale came up with was the Forge. This was essentially an item shop that allowed you to craft whatever legendary item that you wanted. Although it would take a bit of time, which means that enemies would see that you're forging and then come after you, which did create some cool action moments that wouldn't exist in other BRs, because you'd be defending your forged items from potential enemies everywhere. And eventually other Battle Royale games would have their own version of this, either as an item shop or as crafting. So I do think Realm Royale's idea was a bit ahead of its time. I don't know if it necessarily inspired other games, but it was the first to really do this. A lot of people may not realize this, but before Warzone, Call of Duty took a stab at the Battle Royale genre in Black Ops 4. And in Black Ops 4, that Battle Royale mode was called Blackout. I actually made an entire video on it. It's crazy how long I've been doing YouTube. I was so skinny back then. Many Call of Duty fans will say that Blackout was so much better than Warzone, and I don't necessarily agree, but I do think Blackout had some really cool ideas that shaped the BR genre. First, I gotta talk about an honorable mention, which is the fact that you had these wingsuits, which you'd use used to land out of the plane, but you were allowed to use the wingsuits whenever you jump from a high place, giving you some mobility. And elements of this carried over to Warzone with the parachutes. Just less cool because it's a parachute and not like a wingsuit. But I think the best innovation that Blackout added were the zombies in the middle of the Battle Royale. There would be areas where you would have PvE missions, and this would guarantee you some pretty high tier loot if you killed all the zombies. While yes, technically the Battle Royale Fear the Wolves had PvE elements, those elements weren't this high risk, high reward PvE element for high tier loot. Also, you've never heard of Fear the Wolves, let's be honest. And now the best Battle Royales all have PvE elements in them, from Bloodhound's Trials in Apex to mini bosses in Fortnite. And I do feel like these PvE elements give the games a ton more depth. And it also breaks up the repetitive nature of the gameplay. Apex Legends is easily one of the most innovative Battle Royale games ever made, with many of its best ideas being implemented in every single game going forward. But first, some honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Evo Shields. Looting for shields? Cringe. Shooting for shields? Based. Seriously, any game that has shields that you can loot when you could just level them up by playing the game, I can never go back. Another honorable mention are the redeploy balloons. It's nice to have areas of the map completely dedicated to rotating and repositioning. Seriously, before Apex Legends, games only gave you mobility in the form of vehicles or deployables like the jump pad in Fortnite. It was never a guaranteed neutral area on the map that allowed for you to make huge rotations and resets. But not only the best innovation in Apex Legends, but arguably the best innovation of all time has got to be respawn beacons. Yes, before Apex Legends, you could not revive your teammates after they were fully killed. Games like Fortnite now have that respawn van thing. That was not a thing until Apex Legends. You're welcome, Fortnite fans. It's crazy because it seems so obvious now in retrospect, but Apex Legends were the first ones to implement it. I literally cannot imagine a Battle Royale game where you don't respawn in. And I think most people would agree that without it, the gameplay loop feels significantly worse. I guess that's why they're called Respawn Entertainment, huh? Just thought about that. Now, Warzone was Call of Duty's second attempt at a Battle Royale, and in my opinion, a much better attempt, because they did innovate a ton in this game as well. So first, some honorable mentions. We gotta give Warzone props for adding loadout drops. I think one of the most frustrating parts about Battle Royales is the RNG when it comes to finding your best weapon. So it gave players the option to choose a loadout that they wanted before the game even started, and then you could select that loadout at loadout drops that you either bought or found, which eliminated a little bit of the RNG aspect in the game. The next honorable mention is the Gulag. The Gulag is so sick, and I really am disappointed that a lot of other games have not really implemented this in their own games. Like we mentioned earlier with Apex Legends, people like respawning in, and the Gulag gave everybody a chance to come back in as long as you were able to win that 1v1 in the Gulag. But when you did win, it was very satisfying, and having the ability to come back into the Battle Royale was super dope. And Warzone also allowed for you to buy your teammates back, which is something that Apex Legends would end up kind of copying with crafting your teammates' banners. So I do think that was a really good innovation as well. But I do think the best innovation that Warzone added is actually a whole new game mode that they created that I think other games are realizing is kind of the sauce. And that's Rebirth Island. The best part about Battle Royales is how hype the action gets when you're finally in the action. So Warzone added a smaller map so there'd be more action. But so you didn't just end up being dead the whole time. As long as one of your teammates was alive, eventually you would respawn in. And this mechanic was genius. It gave you the best of both worlds. The ability to respawn kind of like an arena shooter while also having the higher stakes of a Battle Royale. And multiple games were heavily inspired by this side game. Splitgate 2's Battle Royale also had a respawn mechanic. Apex Legends has added a bunch of very popular modes that are just copying Rebirth Island. Clearly, Warzone cooked with Rebirth Island. And anytime something similar like this shows up in a Battle Royale, I'm usually pretty satisfied. So with that, we've talked about Warzone, Apex Legends, and Fortnite, kind of the three biggest Battle Royale games out right now. So every Battle Royale that I talk about from here on out is pretty much dead. So we won't spend as much time on these games, as most of the things they brought to the table are not really innovations. So like I mentioned earlier, I will just be talking about the unique elements that these games brought to the table. So let's continue this video with one of my favorite dead games. Hyperscape was so cool, man. It actually, in my opinion, had some of the most unique ideas that I wish other games would copy. An honorable mention is their streamlined loot. If you found the same weapon or the same ability, instead of that loot just feeling like a waste of your space, you can actually pick it up and then immediately upgrade that ability or weapon. And I thought that was so simple. It heavily simplified and decreased the loot pool at the same time. But my favorite unique idea that Hyperscape had was the Twitch integrations. They would have full-on events that would occur randomly throughout the match, and people watching your live stream could vote on which event occurred. Sure, that meant if you're the most popular streamer, you can pick whatever you wanted to happen, but I kind of like this idea. I kind of wish other games had cool live integrations that happen mid-match. Could you imagine how fun some of these tournaments could be if in real time you could ban something or choose what's going to come out of the care package? A boy can dream. Fall Guys was the only ever party game battle royale that really stuck. And I think the fact that it kind of was its own genre of battle royale, that's its most unique thing that it brought to the table. And I hope we get another fun, goofy battle royale party game like this in the future. I just don't feel like it was explored to the fullest. Fall Guys 2? I've brought it up before, but I always thought that Spellbreak was very ahead of its time. It was just very hard to play, not noob friendly whatsoever. But one of the most unique and awesome elements about this game had to do with the elements, actually. Pun intended. The fact that you could mix the different elemental powers whenever you wanted was genius. Creating boulders that were on fire or fire tornadoes, a lot of them were fire related. That's the kind of thing that just doesn't exist in any battle royale, let alone most games. I know I kind of joked about having a sequel for Fall Guys, but genuinely, Spellbreak is one of those games that I wouldn't mind seeing like another interpretation of. It doesn't have to be Spellbreak 2, but imagine a game that used these elemental powers to the fullest. Bloodhunt was a vampire battle royale, it's as crazy as it sounds, and I was pretty sad when the game finally did shut down. But one of my favorite unique mechanics in this game was the fact that you would use PvE characters, like just NPCs that existed throughout the city, to heal. Like, sure, you had healing items, but whenever you needed to and you saw a person on the street, you could just suck their blood and then you'd heal up. Now, obviously, that would be hard to implement in other games. Yeah, I don't think we need another vampire battle royale anytime soon. They kind of suck. Super People? I always thought it was like PUBG, but worse. Did not feel good to play at all. And then they made a sequel? Psh, get out of here. It was the first battle royale that was a full-on melee battle royale. If you're a Naraka Blade Point fan, please let me know in the comments if there's a specific innovation or really cool idea that Naraka does super differently. And if there's like a lot of Naraka Blade Point fans for some reason, maybe I could make a video on it. I've been hit up by a lot of people to play the game. I just never really heard much about it. Apparently it's big in China. Like, I'm dead serious. You can look at the player count there. No, go away. Let's talk about Splitgate 2. Splitgate 2 came, and I really did enjoy the gameplay, but oh man, they went back to beta. That is not a good feeling. Now, obviously, one of the unique mechanics they brought were the portals, but I don't think that's something that can be implemented in future games, except for maybe Splitgate 3. However, one element that I really did enjoy about Splitgate 2's Battle Royale mode was the way that the map worked. I think it was actually kind of genius to connect a bunch of different big team battle maps into one big Battle Royale map. And why do I say this? Because Halo hasn't officially dropped a Battle Royale game mode yet. And I think since they're already going to be working on a new Halo game, and they're definitely going to make big team battle maps, they could kind of copy Splitgate's idea and make those big team battle maps kind of connected into one big Battle Royale map. And what this does is allow for new big team battle maps to come out and replace sections of the Battle Royale map. You're kind of killing two birds with one stone every time you update the game. And that means you also don't have to design full-on Battle Royale maps the whole time. I don't know, I personally just thought that was a really cool idea for arena shooters making Battle Royale maps in the future. But we'll have to see if Splitgate 2 can continue to innovate when they relaunch after coming out of beta a second time. Hopefully second time's the charm. Okay, so that is all the Battle Royales that I've ever really played on this channel. Now, obviously, there were a ton of Battle Royale games that I didn't even discuss or even touch upon. If there's one that I was missing, let me know in the comments down below what you think was the most unique innovation that they added to their game. But trust me, there's a reason why I didn't even go over it in this video. And also, let me know in the comments down below if you agree with my picks for what the biggest innovations were in each Battle Royale game. I'm genuinely curious to see what you guys think were the biggest changes to the BR genre. Anyways, this should be my last video wearing this cast as long as I don't break it again. So say goodbye to the cast. Thank God. But with that, I'll catch you later.